He let me investigate the largest psychiatric VA hospital in the country. I did a 3-month report, which was terrible, about what the situation was. And he said, okay, fix it. And bottom line is he had me develop what became my unit of outreach. And during that period, there were a couple of crises with Time and Life magazine with a couple of vets that were thrown out of that hospital. And I went down, and there was one at Venice Beach, and one at the old POP pier that was there, burned down in '75. It burned down and condemned in '68, but it was right in Pacific Ocean Park Pier between Venice and Santa Monica Pier. There was a huge pier there. And all that was left was just the pier. It was condemned, and there were 350 homeless living on it. They just closed the doors to it and barricaded at the front, and there was a nightclub down below and a few other things. But to walk out over the ocean, that was all condemned and was filled with homeless. And there were all Vietnam vets, and that's where my life started. I mean, I had every vet, and it was like waiting for me to arrive, and I was getting them into the VA and helping them with their stuff. And I turned around, and 6-7 years had gone. Lost my girl 2 years because I was going 7 days a week, and that was a priority, and she wanted to get married and have kids, and I just couldn't do it all. I've always been king of outreach in this country. I mean, there's the Vet Center program, which I started under Carter's, and it's 31 years that I started, and it's all outreach. Well, they've brought it in now, so nobody's going out there, because that's where you got to go get them. I decided to set up a toll-free number in '85 where people can call in, because most soldiers don't know where to start, and they're not going to walk into a big monster VA and knock on concrete and say help. They don't do it. I had this whole thing, if I'm making it simple, one is to give them a number, advertise it, call, and talk to somebody. So for years, with mostly Vietnam vets up until 2001, 2002, the toll-free number was our flag. Then all of a sudden, 9/11, Afghanistan, Iraq, still going on, 9 going on 10 years, got 2 wars going. These guys start coming back in '02 and '03. This new group are all internet savvy. These are kids that came out of that. I didn't. We got this grant about 4 years ago, a major grant, and we had to get into the 21st century, and we put up, I think, the baddest website for veterans in the country. We've been told that. It's smoking all the time. We can't talk enough. You know, we've had 2 million soldiers go back. We got 2 million more gearing up to fight whenever these wars end, and they won't go to the VA. We still have from World War II up through Desert Storm calling. They check us out on the internet, they interact on the internet, and then they call. And that was the buffer. But eventually we want to talk, because 99% of my team are veterans, and half of them now are from Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm hiring all new guys because they understand it, and they got to take over for me. I can't do this forever, and this is the future, and it's been incredible. I mean, they pick up the phone just like we had. I did this show on CNN, and it ran worldwide 5 years ago on this vet that I helped who almost went to jail. It ran worldwide. Well, they satellited into all the stand-down areas for the troops, and now we get calls from the troops, because they're not going to go talk to the mental health officer there, because it gets on a record and they find out, oh, you're having problems, you're mental or whatever. It's not looked at. They tell you can, but they don't. So they call us. So they get in there. So we interact there, and they can interact on the internet when they have questions or when they get out or whatever, and we have job sites, where to go. I mean, we constantly load that thing up. We're constantly revising it. We're staying ahead of the game. There's an old saying that I learned from my commanding officer: if you're standing still, you're backing up. And I've always lived by that. I never want to be the same. So we're celebrating our 25th anniversary of the foundation. I'm working on a book with top attorneys and mental health people in dealing with veterans in trouble. They're trained killers. They come back. They're not deprogrammed. They get in a lot of trouble. They get very violent with loved ones, bars, whatever. They're out there. A fight is not just a fight. There's nothing fair about it. They'll kill somebody. And I've done a lot of murder trials. And one of my combat vets, Barry Levin, saw me on TV, came in, 2 tours, was an airborne combat vet, and started helping me because I was going to court. I'm not an attorney, but I would plead, and because of my reputation, I was able to bend the judge a little bit and the jury sometimes to be lenient on the guy because he was never treated. You know, you might call it that he was insane at the time because he was never deprogrammed. And we're writing, and I'm the head editor of a book that will be out hopefully by the end of the year for all attorneys in the country. So whenever a veteran goes to trial, if it's PTSD or for any post-war behavior, he'll understand and know how to defend it, because I can't go to every trial. So we got to train the attorneys. They got to know, how do you do this? And the book is going to be a procedural book, how to do it. It's major. The first person and really the godfather of celebrities for us that we honor is Keith Knudsen. He was a legendary drummer for the Doobies, and he read my book. It was a roadie, had it, my book on Vietnam, and tracked me down in '86. And the Doobie Brothers had been broken up for 4 years at the time, bad blood, you know, drugs and everything. And he said, how many more books have you got of that? At the time, the first printing, I had several. He said, give me 12. I'm gonna send them to all the original brothers and see if they'll come for one night, put down all their swords, and let's do a concert and get your foundation going. Because I was on paper from '85 to '87 until we had the big concert. So Keith was first, and boom, we did this rock show in '87. The world sees it. Rolling Stone said it was the reunion of the century, of the decade, and whatever. So all of a sudden, we're all over TV. We went from $10,000 out of my pocket to $500,000, getting our number up, getting offices or whatever. So we're rocking in '87. That's when we really surged. And Robin Williams stepped in through one of my other Vietnam friends who was a comedian that Robin had done Good Morning Vietnam, and we got all the music royalties to that, so he donated that to us. And then it just accelerated. Then Lyle Alzado, I changed gyms in '86 after I left the VA, and I went to Gold's Gym. And Lyle had seen me doing a homeless thing in the area on CBS, and he went down with me one day, and the next thing you know, he became our spokesperson after Keith. And then we met Bob Hope, James Garner. People just came in that era. Oliver Stone, because of Ron Kovic. He was a patient of mine, born on the 4th of July. And I'm out here, and so celebrities would see me, thought I was a celebrity vet, which I used to get dinged with by my fellow veterans. But I'm here, and I played it to our advantage, trying to get them. But to be honest with you, the older guys were great. The new guys, I'm hoping through this medium that we'll be able to recruit some of the new stars. I'm not really a star kind of guy, but they really help. I mean, if we could get a Tom Cruise or somebody even younger that's hot now to step up for the foundation. And we need some new blood. I mean, it brings in money, it's helpful.